Well, hello, good evening to each and every one of you. I want to welcome you to Headlines with a Voice. And tonight we are going to look at a couple of things. The first topic and the only topic that we'll be honing in on tonight is the lab-grown meats. Now, I know that there's a lot of people out there, and I always bless you guys with this compliment because you guys are by far the smartest chat in the land that know about this story. I know that a lot of you do. But what we're going to do tonight is we're just going to sort of pull it all together and show a transition, just like a progression of when it started, the conversation. We're not going to go back very far, but we are going to bring us up to speed and up to where we are right now on would you bite it? Would you bite it? So, there's one of my favorite movies of all times, and that it was Soylent Green. That movie and Charlton Heston was always used in great movies that were dealing with the future. I'd like for somebody, William or some Ahmad or someone there, please to let me know if we are 5 by 5, if we are too loud, if we are not loud enough, so that we can get that taken care of right now. While you guys are letting me know that, I want to say greetings and hello to Maureen Olson, Timothy Contreras, Lawrence Nicolaides, Watchful and Alert. It's so good to see you. William Craig and Vermont Prepper. Hello to each and every one of you who've taken the time to say hi in the chat, and I want to make sure that I say hi back. 5 by 5, okay, great. Listen, we're not going to belabor the time. We're going to get directly into it, giving a little bit of history to the story that we are talking about today and letting us know exactly where we are, right? Kyle Stellers, hello, and Zeb Johnson, how are you tonight? All right, so let's look right here, and we're going to start at the how lab-grown meat is made, right? How lab-grown meat is made. So this story was published in October of 2015. How lab-grown meat is made. Scientists argue that lab-grown meat is the future, but what exactly is it was the question that was asked in October of 2015. The answer is in the body of this, so let's just read it. It says, every month there seems to be a new headline touting that lab-grown meat is the future of food. Gizmodo proclaimed in August that the future will be full of lab-grown meat, while the Washington Post take, published 2 months earlier, simply declared, this is the future of meat. Each article details the benefits of growing meat in a lab, traditionally farming of animals, especially of cattle, and it requires a large amount of water and land, according to a 2011 study. So the study in this particular story they're referring to was in 2011, and it was published in Environmental Science and Technology. Cultured or lab-grown meat can potentially be produced up to 96% lower with lower greenhouse emissions and 99% lower land use, as well as 96% lower water use. And what they're sharing here is their perceived benefits, right? All right, so it goes on to say that you're using the less water, so I guess that makes them happy. It says, and while a single lab-grown burger costs slightly more than $11 to make these days, scientist Mark Post, who's known for creating a lab meat-grown burger, is confident that the price will drop to around $65 per kilo. Wow. So what'll you expect? What's to be expected in this lab-grown meat? How does one grow meat in a lab without growing a full animal? The details are explained in the video above. We will not be clicking that, but we will be watching another one in a few minutes without the volume because it is a trailer, but we're going to be using that one. It goes on to say that, but for something the world is so sure represents the future, there is a drastic amount of research still left to be done. Again, this is from 2015, and I will definitely make sure that I leave the notes down below so that you can pull this inside of the production notes. Now, this was 2015. The next story is coming up to today, coming up a little closer. This is Cruz Thorne looking to the future with lab-grown meat. This was in March of 2021, so it's just a few years ago, right? This one goes on to ask about a movie that somebody saw, and then they're describing exactly what it was about. And they start here. The story really starts here. It talks about global warming had already happened, is what they're saying. They asked the question, did you see Minority Report? And if you didn't, you're not alone. It only ran for 10 episodes in late 2015 before it was canceled. Please remember the date of the last story. And we're sort of showing how they sort of dress you for where they want you to be. So let's just imagine it's being dressed for success. And success is when they launch something, they're able to sell it. So they're dressing for success with the story because it says, but I liked it. Mostly because it took place 50 years in the future, and like the 2002 movie, of which it was a sequel, it played around with the possibility of future realities. Global warming had already happened, the author says, so former seaside communities were now islands. People protested against genetically modified humans, and in one scene that I found memorable, the writer says, they walked through a meat manufacturing plant with blobs of something resembling hamburger that were being squeezed out of machines onto slabs. The author goes on to say that it was pretty gross. It was pretty gross. I'll make this a little larger so that everybody can read along with me. The author says that it was pretty gross, but the TV characters marveled that we once killed animals and ate them. We spoke last year about the proliferation, the author says, of plant-based protein largely marketed as meat substitutes, but scientists are also tinkering around with animal-free meat-based substitutes. Basically, they extract cells from an animal and then they coax the cells with nutrients until they divide, encouraging them to reproduce in a bioreactor similar to a fermenting tank. Ideally, the result is tasty meat made without having to raise, feed, and kill animals, eliminating animal cruelty and pathogens, and greatly reducing greenhouse gas productions. Okay? Uma Valida, founder of the Memphis Meats, one of the several companies working on this technology, says he can produce lab-made meat using 90% less greenhouse gas than raising beef. The technology is borrowed from the medical field, where scientists are working on lab-grown skin to treat burn victims and to perhaps someday make whole replacement organs. The requirements for lab-grown meat are not as demanding. The cells don't have to function. They just have to stick together and taste like meat. And they need to be made inexpensively. That has been proven to be easier said than done. The first attempt at lab-grown burgers, produced in 2013 by vascular biologist Mark Post of Maastricht University in the Netherlands, cost $330,000 and was described by food writers as, quote, close to meat, according to a Reuters report by Kate Keelan. The Post called it a very good start, closed quote. Apparently, it's difficult to get cells of muscles, fat, and connective tissues to grow in a proportion and composition that resembles actual meat. Research is underway to isolate meat stem cells that can produce indefinitely, removing the need to have animals in the picture at all, to find plant-based food for cells, and to develop growing surfaces that will get the cells to grow in a way that makes them meat-like. As for the expense, Post has reportedly gotten the price of the burger down to $11, and it's still too high, but the author says here, but it's impressive nonetheless. Meanwhile, Memphis Meats hopes to launch a product for public consumption in 2021. So let's say the scientists overcome the cost, texture, and flavor obstacles and come up with tasty lab-grown meat. The author asks, my question for you, Nancy, is there a market for it? Now, given the move by so many consumers toward natural products free of additives, are the petri dishes really where people are going to turn for environmental, conscious, sustainable products? Well, that's a good question, right? But let's just find out exactly what our government has to say about it. Because the next story that we're going to look at, and again, to read the rest of this at length, I'm going to leave this down in the description for the sake of time, okay? So the next story that I want to look at, just to get us all up to speed, happened. Oh, okay, I'll get you some chocolate. That's my grandbaby. So now listen, this next story here is where we stand with the United States Department of Agriculture. First, the story that we read was from 2015. The second story we just found was 2017. And now this one from Veg News was dated October 15th of 2021. The United States Department of Agriculture just made its first investment in the lab-grown meat industry. The government agency will award $10 million over the course of 5 years to Tufts University to establish the National Institute for Cellular Agriculture, a flagship American cultivated protein research center. The project aims to create more resilient food systems by developing outreach, extension, and education for the next generation of professionals. The story goes on to say, in the field of cellular agriculture, which revolves around the use of small amounts of animal cells to create real meat. And because I switched the page, let me make sure that you guys can still see this, okay? Of small meat. Okay. Lost my place, but all right. Made it bigger for you, but I lost my place. Small amount of animal cells to create real meat and other animal proteins, replacing the environmentally damaged practice of raising and slaughtering animals for food. Quote, the USDA's historic funding for a National Institute for Cellular Agriculture is an important advancement for cultivating meat research and science. Appropriations Committee Chair Representative Rosa DeLauro said in a statement. Rosa goes on to say, I'm pleased that the United States Department of Agriculture's leadership continues to recognize the important role that technologies can play in combating climate change and adding much needed resilience to our food systems. So now you guys can see why this automatically made me think of Soylent Green, simply because Soylent Green was basically the government doing everything that it wanted to do, and then, putting all the people inside of the food, which is what was the famous statement at the end. Soylent Green is people. Soylent Green is people. And we're going to get to that as we show a progression in this story. The story goes on to say the research will take place primarily at Tufts School of Engineering in Massachusetts and will be led by Tufts University professor David Kaplan, a renowned cultivated meat expert who will be working with researchers from Virginia Tech, Virginia State University of California, Davis MIT, and the University of Massachusetts in Boston. While traditional agriculture accounts for 14.5 to 16.5% of the anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions globally, cellular agriculture carbon footprint is far lower, as it does not rely on feeding, maintaining, transporting, slaughtering, and processing billions of animals every year. Here's a quote, there is a major step forward in our work to tackle climate change, infuse resiliency into our food system, and build a stronger, more sustainable future. Closed quote. This comes from the U.S. Representative Kathy Clark, Democrat of Massachusetts, whose district includes Tufts University of Engineering. Kathy goes on to say that I am thrilled that this historic grant will be housed in the 5th District at Tufts University, a true leader in cultivating meat research, and I'm eager to see this transformative research brought to life. I apologize, you guys. But it goes on to say that the United States Department of Agriculture's historic investment will support critical research necessary to rapidly scale cell-based meat production as a major obstacle in getting the novel meat to market, and is knocking down its price. Currently, a variety of cellular agriculture and agricultural companies are working in the United States to create lab-grown beef to cell-based lobster and every animal product in between. Okay? This says, however, Only Eat, just a California-based food startup company known for its mung bean-based Just Egg, has been successful in obtaining regulatory approval for cell-based meat, and it did so outside of the United States late last year. In Singapore, it became the first country in the world to allow the sale of cell-based meat after Just Eat completed a rigorous approval process for chicken produce produced under its Good Meat Cellular Agricultural brand. Now, Eat Just is setting its sights on Qatar, which is poised to become the second country to grant regulatory approval, where it recently partnered with Doha Venture Capital and Qatar Free Zones Authority to build its first ever cultured meat production facility in the Middle East and Northern Africa region. In May, the company raised $170 million to fund the proliferation of its cell-based meat with the aim of making traditionally raised chicken obsolete. Now, again, this story will be down below inside of the description. So as we look at those stories, we begin to think, gee, well, our government actually put funds. According to this report, 10 million US dollars were given to do the study, and were given with all of these different universities and whatnot attached to the study. This is where the money has gone. Well, here is another twist. And as usual, this is going to bring us a little closer to today. As a matter of fact, it takes us right to last week, March 23rd, 2022. Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, is pushing for new lab meat industry, for new lab-grown meat industry that harvests the blood of unborn cow fetuses. Fetus, right? Some of the world's wealthiest investors are putting their money into a new lab-grown meat industry. This lab-grown meat is made from animal stem cells that are cultured and replicated in vitro. The cultured meat product is being touted as a solution to climate change because it reduces the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that come from ranches, small farms, and factory farms. Investors and advertisers are calling this cultured protein a clean meat product because no animals are killed to produce it. However, this meat is not entirely slaughter-free. In fact, the animal cells are mass-produced using fetal bovine serum, the blood of the unborn cow fetus. The mother cow and the newborns must be slaughtered to collect the secret ingredient needed to mass-produce lab-grown meat. Due to its unique ratio of hormones, fetal bovine serum is currently the most efficient way to culture the animal cells. This is the same fetal bovine serum that has been used, the author reports, to mass-produce cells for vaccine manufacture since the 1950s. Well, some of these individuals, like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, are all clamoring to control the food supply and dictate the type of meat that people are allowed to eat. As you know, Gates is buying up farmland across the United States and pushing for genetically engineered crops, geoengineering the weather and the climate, and digital surveillance, as well as vaccine compliance systems. Now, Gates and Bezos are trying to prop up the entire industry in cultured meat. Well, the story is saying that, but as we can just see, it is something that not only are they doing, but the U.S. government has also given it its thumb of approval, or its thumbs up, right? And so it's not just them, it is the fact that it's already been done in other countries, and it's also the fact that the U.S. government has given it its thumb up. Now they enter with their monies to sort of broaden it a little bit based on the research that they're obviously going to be able to glean from the other countries that are doing this, right? All right. So it goes on to say that that Jeff Bezos and Gates are trying to, hone in on the industry of cultured meat. This industry is being funded under the sustainability and social responsibility as a solution to combat global warming and overpopulation. Instead of investing in small farms and promoting biodiversity and permaculture, world elites are trying to establish a centralized form of meat production and distribution, mass producing fake meats that are artificially replicated in a lab. Again, this story does not belong to me. It is here by Lance Johnson, was the writer, and the date was on March 23rd, 2022. So how does all of this play a role in my question? Would you bite it? How does all of it play a role? Well, let's take a quick look, shall we? Because a lot of these things are always done in advance to sort of soften our minds, to get a little warmed up for what they feel will come to pass. Here is and I'm sure a lot of people have probably seen it. I've never watched the movie or watched the series, but I do want to let you know that if you have a weak stomach, you probably don't want to look at it. But I will tell you that this is what was being propped up for us a few years ago in tandem with all of this. So let's take a look at the trailer. This particular trailer is of Santa Clarita, and I've already queued it up for us, but I'm not going to play the audio, right? I'm going to show you, but I'm going to read what is actually next. And when this trailer is done in 2 minutes and 22 seconds, I will then show you what I've been reading while this is playing, okay? So this again is with Drew Barrymore from the Netflix series, Santa Clarita Diet. January 17th, 2017 is when this was uploaded. And again, it is from Netflix. I do not own this. This is just for commentary, and it is for informational purposes only. Okay, here you go. Bite Labs produces fine artisanal salami from what has been grown in a lab from celebrity tissue samples. In 1931, Winston Churchill predicted a future in which all of the meats would be grown in a lab. What he asked was what is the sense of raising a whole chicken merely for its wings and its breast meat, is his question. Okay, what is the sense in it, he says. The story goes on to, today, in vitro meat production is close to becoming a reality, offering highly controllable meat production without any animal cruelty, waste, and environmental impacts of the industrial farming. But this process can offer so much more than replicas of beef and pork. The story goes on to say, imagine meat like never before. The process begins with myosatellite cells, which are obtained by a biopsy. They are a particular type of stem cell that's found in the adult muscle that function to repair and regrow damaged muscle. Isolating a sample of these cells provides a base that can grow into as much meat as required. Now, in order to produce the meat in volume, we allow the myosatellite cells to multiply in a growth medium. The medium functions as a sort of artificial blood, providing the cells with nutrients and growing factors. The stem cells must not only multiply, but also develop into actual muscle. But this occurs as a matter of course, being the primary purpose of the stem cells in the first place. Okay? I'm going to come over here and check on you guys and make sure that you are seeing. All right, so this is pretty vulgar, right? What we're seeing. I've stopped reading where we are just so that you guys can see exactly where we are, right? This is, again, a trailer of a television show that was on this particular network, okay? All righty. So now I'm going to take that out, and what I'm going to show you now is where I was reading from. It's the question that was posed yesterday when we put this up. Would you bite it? Would you? Let's find out. So we see here Bite Labs, and this is what I was reading from. Okay, this is what I was reading from. The third portion says to become meat, not only in cell type, but in the texture and structure as well, the fledgling muscle cells are attached over a sugar support. This not only provides a structure for muscle to grow over, but it also creates channels for growth medium to flow through, much like veins. And at this point, the growth process has moved into bioreactors where directional stimulation of the muscles makes them mature and become stronger. The next part in the process says when fully grown, these muscle pieces are combined and grown to the desired consistency. It is at this point that we mix different types of meats according to specific recipes for each of our products. Spices, fats, and oils are mixed into the flavor and adjusted to the consistency of the meat blends. The next portion in their process is the ground meat is now stuffed into casings and given a final seasoning. We then dry, age, and cure our salamis in a traditional low-temperature environment before packing them for distribution. Here is the information that they say is coming soon. It's the nutritional information. So what is this that I'm reading from? What was this that was quoting Winston Churchill from 1931, stating that he predicted a future in which all the world's meat was going to be grown in a lab? And why was he so, thinking? Why was he forward thinking? What would have been in his life to make him think that way? Well, let's take a look at the company that they used to actually take his quote and run with it. It's a company called Bite Labs. Bite Labs is a company that has not only lab-grown meats, but you can actually take some of the DNA from your famous or your favorite celebrity and have celebrity meat. Eat celebrity meat. Bite Lab grows from celebrity tissue samples and uses it to make artisanal salami. Let's see. What does this show us? Here it is. This is for informational purposes only, and we're just showing it to you. They are here on YouTube, and again, this is specifically for informational purposes only. We do not own this. This is for you to go to look at this company, and you'll be able to see this information for yourself. So you see the first sentence that they say there, and then they grow them into muscles, and then after that, they make robust and flavorful, quote-unquote healthy and eco-friendly salami, artisanal salami. Okay, I'm going to take this off because I do not want to show too much of their stuff. Instead, you are welcome to go over to their channel and to see that if that's what you choose to do. But we are reading here. It says here, you never experience celebrities like this. Celebrities. It all starts with your favorite celebrity and a quick biopsy to obtain tissue samples. The culture, isolating the muscle stem cells, we grow celebrity meat in our proprietary bioreactors. And then the meats, it says here, in the tradition of Italian cured meats, we dry, age, and spice our products into fine charcuterie. All right? Now, they want you to get the celebrities on board. So help to get the celebrities on board. And how? Well, they say they want you to tell the world that you want celebrity meat by tweeting them. Tweet your favorite celebrities and support us on Thunderclap. So here is James Franco. It says, quote, he's sexy, he's artsy. Let's make him salami. The Franco salami must be smoky, sexy, and smooth. Franco's meat will pair with lean, strong venison, sharp Telesheri peppercorns, and caramelized onions provide Franco's underlying flavors, complementing by a charming hint of lavender. The Franco salami taste will be arrogant, distinctive, and completely undeniable. So they want people to tweet him to say, hey, come on and let's have some of your DNA. The next person is Jennifer Lawrence. There's a description here for what they think it should taste like, and they're asking you to please tweet here, as well as Kanye West. It says, always push the boundaries in taste. The Kanye salami will pull no punches. Heavy and boldly flavored, pure Kanye West meat will blend with rich, coarse ground pork, Hungarian paprika, and Worcestershire give Kanye an underlining smokiness spiced up with hints of jalapeno. The Kanye salami is best paired with strong, straight bourbon. And here is another invitation to tweet him. Here's Ellen DeGeneres. And then it asks, who else would you want to eat? Tweet them with hashtag #EatCelebrityMeat. So as we see what we're looking at this evening, I want to show you guys that because I know you guys didn't see it, but let me take you here and see it. okay, so that you see it for yourself, all right? So that was the portion with Ellen DeGeneres, all right? This is James Franco's. This is Jennifer Lawrence. This is the paragraph that they have for her. The J-Law salami will be complemented by a mixture of rabbit and pork, a charming and confident flavor profile. The J-Law salami is coarse, ground with a rustic style, smooth with notes of honey, and spice with orange zest ginger. Always surprising, the salami will never fail to entertain. And here is where they're looking for you to, tweet her. Here is the Kanye West that we mentioned, and they're looking for you to tweet him here. And again, here is Ellen DeGeneres, and it says, as a salami, we see Ellen's salami composition blended with ostrich, black pepper and garlic with a playful kick of mustard. Give the Ellen salami a highly approachable, well-rounded flavor. A hint of brandy and shallots will finish off the Ellen salami in exquisite fashion. So here it is. These are their experience. It says you've never experienced celebrities here. And this is the front, which is what we use tonight for our thumbnail. So I want to show you also where we were for the, there. I'm sure you guys probably saw this. I'm not sure. I think you saw this though, didn't you? I hope so. So this right here is obviously Winston Churchill from 1931. Well, I want to say this. I'm not going to give a great commentary to this because I think it goes without saying, right? But what I want to share with you is that there were scriptures in the Bible, one in particular that comes to mind that says, where Yah was saying, hey, they are devouring my people and they're eating them as bread. That was a specific group of individuals, and they were real in the Bible, that they really did this in the Bible. They really did that. And I remember also reading where you saw Caleb and Joshua coming back into the camp and saying, hey, there are giants in the land. And these giants were actually doing just that. They were eating, right? This is what this reminds me of. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us tonight. I want to thank every one of the mods for working with us this evening. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you. For the sake of time, I want to say hello to Rachel Van Ziel and Marty Lauderdale and all my other mods that are here that I may not see. Ann Gaynor, I want to say hey to you. Hey to everyone that's here. Window Liquor Prepper, thank you guys all. And thank you all of you for donating and leaving support for me on this channel. It is very appreciated that you go to either my PayPal and you donate there, or you support me there. You can do a one-time donation or support there one time, or please go and you can find all of these things down below in my description once this is published, or you can go to the home channel and you can also support via Cash App. I so appreciate those of you who think of me in that way, and those of you who have the opportunity to do so. You are so very much appreciated for supporting me and my efforts here on this channel. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with me this evening, and I want you all to remember that on any Felicia Lockhart publication, that we always say one thing: that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys take care of yourselves and take care of one another. And please remember what I always say: continue to be blessed. Take care.
The Lockhart Perspective.